You are tuning into Mad Genius Live, and you better stick around because I've got David Shim from Cote here in New York City to talk about all the short rib. Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin Chapple. I'm the culinary director right here at Food & Wine, and you are tuning into Mad Genius Live, which comes to you every Thursday morning at 11:30. It's the morning, but it kind of feels like the afternoon, but that's okay. It's okay. We were in Aspen last week, so if you caught the show last week, I had my friend Ashley Christensen there, and we were live from our Aspen studios. It was really fun. It was the 2018 Food & Wine Classic in Aspen, and I had so much fun. I think I'm still hungover. I don't know. But we are a live show, so please follow along using the hashtag MadGeniusLive. Hit us up with your questions, your comments, your ideas. Just be nice, please. I would like to introduce everyone to Chef David Shim. David, welcome.
Thank you.
David is from Cote, right here in New York City. It is, we're going to get to that. I do have to say that we also have Kelsey Youngman back here in the Food & Wine Test Kitchen with her laptop because, like I said, we are live. So she is here to answer questions and ask us questions, or David questions if you have them. So David is the chef at Cote, which is a restaurant here in New York City where our test kitchen is based. And we were talking about it before we went live, and it is a Korean steakhouse, the first
Korean steakhouse.
Korean steakhouse, which, what does that mean?
So we decided to marry the Korean barbecue and the American steakhouse together to create something new, something exciting that, you know, I think something that New York hasn't seen before.
It's true, we have not seen it, and everyone's talking about it. It's probably one of the hottest restaurants in the city right now. I think one of the hardest reservations to get. Maybe. Is that true? Maybe.
I think so, maybe.
But it's beautiful. It's a beautiful restaurant. It's sexy, and they have so much incredible food. Everyone's talking about it, including the what is it called? The Butcher's Feast.
Butcher's Feast, yeah.
So you want to? Would you say that's the most popular thing?
That is the most popular, I guess, dish for the customers, and it's a tasting of what we offer. So you get 4 different kinds of meat. Usually we start with a USDA prime, dry aged, American Wagyu, and they finish with marinated short ribs, and you get a whole fixing, everything. It's a feast.
So in addition to all the meats, so what's really cool about the mashup between the Korean barbecue and the steakhouse is you're actually getting that Korean barbecue experience, but you're getting all the incredible like dry aged meats and all that you would find at a steakhouse, right? An American steakhouse. But then of course you get all the, so would you say that all the fixins, so typically when you go to Korean barbecue, you'd get all the different
banchan and the rest, Those fixings I think are very traditional Korean, but I think what we showcase is our in-house dry aging meat. You know, we have our own meat locker that we age anywhere from fresh to, I think the longest one that's been there is like since last June.
Oh my gosh. So, and when did the restaurant open?
Last June.
Okay, so from the beginning.
From the beginning.
Okay, so when I come in, that's the meat I want.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Okay, so I had David in because one of my favorite cuts of meat of all time, some of my favorite beef is beef short rib. And the crazy thing about it is, so I've been cooking at Food & Wine for almost 9 years, and one of the things that I try to explain to people is how versatile short rib actually is. Because most people, when they think of short rib, they think of the English cut, which are like kind of the squares that you find in the store, and you slow braise them, oftentimes in like a red wine or something like that. And then sometimes they're served with like polenta or whatever. And I think that's how, especially in America, how we think of short rib. And so what I wanted to do was bring David in so that he can talk about how versatile short rib is and show us some very simple ways that you can cut it at home so that you can cook it in a different way, because it doesn't take forever.
No, it doesn't. Maybe the preparation might take a little time, but once it's done, cooking takes.
Right, exactly. You don't need to braise it for 4 hours.
No,
you can cook it rather quickly. And so let's talk about it. So we have you brought 3 cuts of short rib here.
Yeah, 3 different kinds.
And which you told me you can pretty much find at any butcher. Some of which you can find probably at a regular grocery store. So do you want to take us through what the different cuts are here?
Sure. The first one we have, I think, is the one that we are most familiar with. We call it, English cut or bone-in short rib. This one you can ask them to cut it 2 to 3 inches, and I think you can find this in most stores. And the second one we have is just a boneless short rib. Same thing here, off the bone, and this is also very common in your local
Right,
supermarkets.
yeah. And oftentimes, oftentimes if you look here, like sometimes when you go to the regular grocery store here, you find it where they've cut it here.
Yes.
So they've cut it in half, and you find these basically little squares of short ribs.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of times people prepare at home. Right, just like that. Look at that. Ask and you shall receive.
Yeah.
So this, you're saying, is basically this with just no bones.
Just no bone, yeah.
Okay.
And then the third cut we have might be a little specialty cut, but it's called a chuck rib or chuck flap tail, which comes from the first and the fifth bone of the rib. And personally, I think this has the best yield, and it's something that we also use at Cote, and this is just great for marinated short ribs.
So one of the things that David was explaining to me before we went live was that one of the reasons he really likes this is because it's more, what were you saying? It's more...
It's uniform in size. Most pieces, as you see here, they pretty much come standard of this little block. And it's easy to clean, easy to work with, and I think it's perfect.
Cool. So I would say from my experience, these are the ones that you find in like the cabinet, in the locker. This is the one you might want to ask the attendant for. And then this one you told me is probably, you could probably more or less find it from a real, like a butcher
Local
shop.
butcher, yeah. Butcher
Gotcha.
shop.
And so what should somebody at home ask for if that's what they want?
You can ask for chuck rib, usually. And if you go to your local butcher shop, if you ask for chuck flap tail, they'll know what it is.
They'll know what it is. And so is this something that like the butcher often saves for themselves?
No.
No? Okay.
I don't think so. I think that used to be the hanger steak, but...
But now the hanger steak is really popular,
I know.
and so now they're starting to sell it in the thing. And I remember when hanger steak was like $3 a pound.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Now it's like $13 a pound. Supply and demand. This is a lesson in economics. All right, so you're going to show us 3 ways that somebody can kind of prepare these at home. So let's get into it.
Okay, so we'll start with something that we do at Cote. We often use this or the boneless short ribs. First step we're going to do is we're going to take off the membrane on top. What I like to do is, as you see from the fat here, press hard, insert your knife, and just...
You just go for it. That's so easy.
And then
And can you save that piece, or is that kind of like...
we throw in stock sometimes,
Okay.
just to give more flavor. And these little silver skins.
And silver skin is basically like the easy way to describe it. It's that when you're eating meat at home, it's that really chewy part that you get, and you have to like pull it out and
Cut
get it
off
off your
the
meat.
excess, and we flip it around. And there's some few fattier parts where we want to take off. And by doing that, you just
Just
cut, and then you just pull.
So if somebody were going to buy this cut from their butcher, can they ask for the butcher to trim it?
Sure.
And so what would someone just say, like, can you just trim the excess fat
Yeah,
and
you can
sinew?
trim the excess fat, take off the sinew, and this is pretty much ready to go. And what we do is, I guess, be careful, but same way, press hard, find a way where it's halfway through, and you just let the knife work its magic. Just let it slide by.
And if somebody, so are you going to leave it like that, or if somebody wants to make it more manageable, can they cut it that way first?
Yeah, if it's easier, if you're not as skilled or you're not comfortable using it, you can definitely cut it in half, and you'll get the same product.
Ooh, look how beautiful that is. Let me show. Can I show Phil?
Yeah.
Phil, can you see that? Look at that. It's so beautiful. It's like well marbled. Gorgeous.
And then what we're going to do next is what we call at Cote the diamond cutting. So essentially, short ribs are very, very fibrous, or that's why it requires a long time to cook. So here we're going to score them diagonally and break the fibers. And what we do is instead of just slicing down like this, we're going to actually push forward, and we're going to create a little
an angle.
Yeah.
Wow.
So instead of just cutting down, we're actually like breaking down the fibers. Then we go.
Because almost like you're cutting against the grain and
Yeah.
not at the same time.
And you're kind of pushing it away.
That's really pretty.
Then you flip it over, do the same thing.
That's cool.
And you kind of want to see
Yeah.
the other side.
You don't want to cut it all the way through, right? Exactly.
And so that what we get here, once you're done, you'll be able to stretch it out.
Wow. It's almost like shredded, but not
Yeah.
shredded.
And this can be one way. And it's...
And then, of course, if you're David, you just go real quick. Do we have one more? Let me see. Oh, I'll grab a plate here. I was going to say, why don't I pull this off? Because we're not going to cut this one, right?
No.
I'll just pull it off just so that we can get a cool shot of it right by the camera. That is really cool. So that's what David calls the diamond cut.
And it definitely helps the marinade penetrate through the meat, which tenderizes, all the flavors are in, and it's just awesome.
Great.
Then the next cut we have is boneless short rib. It's the same thing without the bone. So what we want to do is take out the silver skin over here as well.
Cool. And so just a real quick question. So when you're doing this, like whether you're doing the diamond cut or doing what you're doing now, do you want the meat to be cold or do you want it to be room temperature?
It's easier to, if it's very well marbled, it's better to cut room temp because it's hard to push forward with the cutting technique.
Gotcha.
The fat
because the fat is
firm. So this one we'll do the same thing. Push hard down and.
So we're cleaning it off again here. Nice. Save it for your stock.
And this one we'll do something different so that you can do it at home a lot easier, which will be just your traditional scoring. And this also works very well.
So it's basically the same thing, but you're not doing it on both sides.
Not pushing forward.
Oh.
So it's an easier technique.
So basically you're just cutting like lines in it, basically scoring it. Wow.
It stretches, but it doesn't stretch as long.
It's almost hard to tell the difference there. But then if you look really closely, oh, I could see. Cool. Instead of, here, let's see if the camera can see. I don't know if the camera could get that. It's kind of hard to see. But if you look close here, these are almost just like strips of meat. Almost like if you went and you bought strips of meat, that's what it would look like. And then this is almost like fanned out, where it's flatter. I don't know how to explain it. It's really cool, though.
And then we'll do something special with the English cut.
I like something special. Dare we say mad genius, David?
Yes. Mad genius.
If you are just tuning in, you're watching Mad Genius Live. Follow along using hashtag Mad Genius Live. We have David Shim here from Cote in New York City, and he is showing us all the short rib tricks that he uses at the restaurant.
So this is something fancy, or I guess you can show off to your friends at your barbecue next time you guys all meet.
4th of July.
4th of July.
Next week.
So what we have here
I think next week, right?
Yeah.
2 weeks? Sorry, 2 weeks.
Bone and short rib. All we're gonna do is trying to achieve this length from this piece.
Okay.
Which means we're just gonna flip it over.
And part of the reason you want to achieve that is because you're basically going for like quick cooking.
Yes.
Okay.
So if we were to cook this the same way as that, it'll take a lot longer. So we just want to achieve what we have over there. So as you see here, we're just gonna make an incision, but we're not gonna cut it all the way through. Just till that.
Because what you're doing is you're butterflying.
Butterflying, and then we're gonna flip it over, and we're gonna butterfly one more time.
So basically what you're doing is you're splitting, when you talk about butterflying, you're splitting the thicker parts of the meat in half.
Yeah. So what we started from a small piece like this.
Yeah.
Now we have a long piece.
Do you want to do one more?
Sure.
Let's do one more because that is really cool. And here you're leaving it on the bone.
Leaving it on the bone, and when you're cooking, this works best if you're cooking it in the grill. What you do is just make an incision, and as the meat is cooking, you will eventually cut the meat off, leave the bone on. But once you know the bone is ready is when this separates itself and it just...
Ooh.
It'll tell you when it's ready.
See, I knew you were full of Mad Genius tips, David. So if you heard what David said, he basically said that, so he butterflied the meat, left it on the bone, but he scored the bone, the fat on the bone, the sinew, and he's saying that you know the meat is ready to pull off the grill when this pulls away.
Yes.
Cool.
And we'll do it again one more time. Make an incision.
This is amazing.
Just make sure
I've literally never thought to do this.
Cut it all the way through. Do it one more time.
And I know we have so many, is anybody watching who's a meat eater? All right, let's do a poll. Who's a meat eater? First of all, maybe that's a bad question because I think that
everyone in the comments is just like, I love meat, teach me how to cook, who doesn't love this?
I am gonna do a poll.
Okay.
So for those of us watching, who has used short rib in a manner that is similar to this? Like, is that a good question?
That's pretty confusing. What do you
Okay, so. Okay, never mind, forgive me. Okay, so who has cooked short rib without braising it?
Yeah, perfect.
Let's do that. Okay, David, of course, has. Not this David, the other David in the back of the room has. Okay, so so now you're gonna show so we have 3 cuts here. So you have your butterflied short rib.
Yeah.
You have, what do we call this? Scored?
Score simplified, diamond cutting.
And then this is the diamond cutting.
Yes.
Okay, so which one are you gonna show us how to cook today?
We'll do the diamond cutting because this is what we use at Cote, and I think it's an easy step to do it, and I think it'll be great.
Yeah, and it's the most unique, I think.
It is.
All right, so we're gonna marinate it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about what the marinade is. So you wanna talk about what this is?
So what we're gonna do a pre-marinade, which is a mixture of pear, onion, and garlic, and it's usually 2 to 1 to pear to onion.
Okay.
And you can use Asian pear, red pear, any pear that's in season.
Okay.
And the reason we use this is to tenderize the meat and bringing a more depth of sweetness from its natural juices of.
And you just took onion and pear and you pureed it in a blender.
And a little bit of garlic.
And a little bit of
Puree
garlic.
it as
okay.
much as you can.
So, and what we're gonna do? Put that in there?
And then we're gonna put these.
Okay. And I'll mix this around. Why don't you get the rest of the marinade going?
Okay.
And so basically what David is explaining is that actually the onion juice and the pear juice tenderizes the meat.
Yep.
It's the enzymes in it.
Enzymes that.
Right, and that's actually used in many cultures.
A lot of culture.
A lot of cultures do this. They, like in the Middle East, they grind onion up and they marinate the meat,
Yep.
like tough cuts of meat in it before they put it on skewers and grill it. And okay, so I'll get this
While
mixing.
you do that,
Let me use And so you were telling me before, basically what you do is you let this sit for about 30 minutes
30
before
minutes,
you
yeah.
add the other stuff. But because we're on live video,
timer.
we're not going to do that.
So what I have here is sugar.
Let's move it right there. So we have some sugar. That's a lot, but this is normally for a lot of meat.
Yes, for about 3 to 4 pounds.
Okay.
So, soy sauce.
And I believe, do we have the recipe for this, Kelsey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
We're gonna
do. We have the recipe for this marinade on foodandwine.com. We're just dropping it in the comments across our platforms.
Just
and
in time for summer grilling.
Summer grilling. And this is mirin.
Great.
And this is, you can use water, but we use dashi at Cote, which is just a simple stock with anchovy and kombu. Just brings a little bit of umami to the flavor, I think, and definitely is a staple to Korean cuisine and a lot of the soups and sauces. That, and then we mix this together.
Would you ever recommend because I know that here in New York City we can find instant dashi that you just like, it's the little granules that you mix
powder?
with water. Yeah, the powdered dashi. Would you recommend that, or do you recommend?
If you don't have the time to do it, sure, but if you make a batch and you can freeze it, and you can always reuse it.
Right, because dashi is fairly easy to make.
Yeah.
As long as you you can go to a Japanese market
yeah.
or a Korean market.
And they even sell like little packets with anchovies and kombu, and then all you gotta do is drop it and steep it like tea.
That's amazing.
So even better instant dashi.
Even better. Yeah.
Okay, so go for the better instant dashi. And you just whisk that up.
Whisk that up. Make sure the sugar's all melted.
And again, we only have 2 pieces of meat in here, but
We're gonna pour it over like this.
but this is obviously enough for like 3 or 4 pounds. And you could actually do this if you're not using this diamond cut technique. You can marinate other pieces of meat in this, right?
Yes, of course. You can use pork, chicken. It's a great marinade for all, I think.
Cool.
And then just before you grill, you add the sesame oil to give the fragrance a taste.
Okay.
So I mean,
You want to wait for that, and then we'll do it later. So we'll let that marinate. Okay, so let's cook some short rib because
Awesome.
we already have some here. Let me show you. So David has had this marinating for pretty much probably 4 hours.
Just came in for last night's service.
Okay.
So it's been sitting for maybe 12 hours.
Okay, so this has been marinating for 12 hours, but David told me that you can actually marinate it as little as 4.
4, yeah.
So this is perfect, which means, because the longer the better is what you said.
Sure, yeah.
So what you could do is actually get this going before you go to work, or in the morning when you wake up, if it's a Saturday.
And then be ready for the evening barbecue.
There you go. And all right, okay, you're letting your pan heat up. I'm actually gonna heat up, we have 2 pans here. David has one over here so that you guys can see it. But I have one here because we're gonna cook extra so that we can all eat it.
Everybody can have it.
And so I do wanna, can you guys get a close-up of David's pan here? So this is a custom pan he brought, which is like so beautiful and incredible. It looks kind of like a shallow cast iron pan. But these were specially made in Korea?
Yeah, these were made in Korea by a 5th generation iron workers, and they're like a national human treasure in Korea, and we just want to support, our heritage, our culture.
I mean, they're so beautiful, but if somebody doesn't have one of those at home, obviously they can use cast iron pan or cast iron griddle, or an outdoor grill, right?
Over coal.
Over coal, there you go.
Okay, so we're gonna add a little bit of oil. Not a lot.
I'm gonna move this out of the way if that's cool, because I'm gonna bring over our little situation that's gonna be for your landing.
Nice.
When you're ready to go. Because you also have, so David is, obviously he showed us the marinade, which is actually a really simple marinade.
Yeah, it's a very simplified version of the ones that we use at Cote, and I think it is perfect for everyday use at home.
Made especially for those of you watching Mad Genius Live.
Yeah.
Because we, all right, look at that. Oh my God, look how crazy that is. It's kind of scary. There we go. And so at Cote, at the restaurant, you guys, you don't cook it this way. Instead, you cook, because you want to explain to everybody, so when you go to the restaurant, each table
has a grill.
Has a grill in the middle of it,
Yeah.
which is traditional for Korean barbecue.
Yep.
This smells so good. I'm sorry. I'm
I know,
just like
I'm
getting
smelling it.
all this beautiful.
I'm gonna,
So
Kelsey's
nice.
getting a marinade bath over here. And so
And then-
how hot do you want the pan?
You want to start high, but you also want to bring it down a little bit so that you don't burn the marinade before the meat is cooked. So you can start pretty high when we first start, and then we can.
But normally, so this is probably not gonna get the same char that it would get over the grill.
No,
Okay.
it's dropping 10.
Can I put this one in over there?
Yeah.
Oh, you got that going? And if you want, because what David's doing is showing us how he would serve this. So he actually gets the meat going, and then he serves it. Once he's done cooking the meat, he sautés a little onion, a little scallion, and he serves it with the lettuce, and then the sauce, of course, which you're gonna talk about when we get to it. I'm gonna put this one over here. I'm afraid to actually cook this one because
No, I think it's fine. You'll do
because
great.
this one is over real fire, and I gave you the induction burner over there, and I'm afraid of catching it on fire. I'm always nervous when we're live that I'm gonna catch something on fire, which we've done on this show before, have we, Kelsey?
Oh, no.
Yeah. I once stood with my jaw on the floor as like a giant flame went to near the top of our hood, but it didn't quite touch it.
Who was that again?
I think it was Mark Forgione.
Oh yeah, Mark Forgione.
He did
And then like everyone watching was like, "Oh my gosh, fire!"
Good. It was real. So you're moving this around
Yeah.
a lot. You want to give it.
So one thing to watch out for is it's not like
Oh
you're.
my God, the smell when you put it in the pan,
That's what I was saying.
it's like incredible.
So you just want to watch out because it's not a thick steak, and there's definitely marinade that's starting to burn or caramelize.
Yeah.
So you kind of want to move the meat around so that it soaks up all the.
So are you looking to
Goodness.
get a ton of color, or are you just looking to get like a little bit of color?
You want color definitely, because once you definitely want the color, but you don't want it. There's a very fine line before it
Starts to
nice,
burn.
and then it becomes the dark char.
And that's partially because there's a lot of sugar
Yeah.
in the marinade.
You just want to move it around. You see, like
Ooh, it's starting to like
caramelize.
caramelize. Yum. Just gonna move that over layer.
Start to go like that.
Oh my God, why did I turn it down? Because I was afraid. I was afraid.
Don't be afraid of the fire.
This one's definitely going quicker because the fire.
I think so. Just want to chew in some onions.
Just like simple slicing
very
of
simple,
onions.
yeah. Very simple.
Just simple, but like lightning quick. It's all right.
Super fast, beautiful slices.
Just super fast.
And then the scallion, we're gonna take the ends off. And we're just
Oh my God, wait. Before you do it, let's make sure we can see this. Can you guys see this? Phil, get over here. Because watch what he's doing.
Just gonna go on a diagonal, or not diagonal, horizontal, and just cut it so that it's a little bit
Wow.
easier to chow down.
That's so smart.
We're
This
just
is funny. So I was in Aspen this week, and my friend Ashley Christensen, who's a chef down in Raleigh, North Carolina, she gave me a little tool.
To shred
Yeah,
scallions?
I don't know where I put it, but I think it's at my desk. But she gave me one of those scallion shredders.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it was like, she told me it's like $1. But it basically like, it doesn't shred it like as thick as this, it's much finer, almost like julienne's it. And this, what I love about, and the reason why I wanted David to come on and talk about short rib, cooking short rib in this way is because short rib is so flavorful, it's so beefy, it's so meaty, and you don't need to eat it braised.
And I think every time we have this with my friends at a barbecue outside or out in the park, I think this is always a hit. People like the taste of sweet, charred, caramelized beef.
Yeah, and it's not, and cutting it in the way that David cut it and cooking it kind of quickly still keeps it pretty tender,
Yeah.
right? I have a, do you want a plate? There you go.
Okay.
Because it's a real kitchen, ladies and gentlemen, we have plates on the shelf.
Forks and knives.
And forks and knives, which I forgot. Ooh. Phil, get a close-up. Can I, so you can,
Grill
I'm gonna
master.
flip this, you tell me what I gotta do. Is this ready to flip, or?
Yeah, it looks good. Just gotta move it around a little bit.
Because you wanna like, okay, wow. This is fun. I kinda wish I had a burner over there next to you so we could do it together.
So this one is kinda ready. So you see it's caramelized, a lot of sugar
Wow.
going on.
And that was like 4 minutes.
Yeah. So this is where we want to be careful. This is, as you see, the sugar's burning.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Here, so he's pulling it a little bit off, and then he's getting in the onions, which are very colorful and beautiful. And you're not trying to cook these down to where they're like super, super soft, right?
No. And we're gonna deglaze with a little bit of water so that everything comes off. As you see, it's gonna season itself with all the marinade that's already on the pan.
So the hardest part about this is the marinade.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, not the marinade, but the time.
Yeah.
The time it takes. Do we have any questions, Kelsey?
No, just a lot of love.
A lot of what?
A lot of love.
Oh,
Yeah.
a lot of love for you, David.
Thank you.
Brandon and Jamie
And the meat. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably a lot of it's probably the meat, right?
I mean, but there's, Jamie says she loves Cote. Hi, Jamie. Thanks
Hello,
for
thank
coming.
you, Jamie.
Josh missed us and is glad to be back in the kitchen. And Josh and Kristen both said, thanks for showing us this new way to cook short ribs.
Nice.
It's going to change how people
Nice.
cook them.
I think this one's ready.
Yeah.
You think? I'm gonna bring it over here because I want everyone to see.
Oh, Jen's going to do this for her 4th of July barbecue.
Ooh, this one's much smaller. It looks
Nice.
beautiful though. Should I take it off?
It does, yes. It looks
What
great.
side is prettier? That side.
Master.
The mask.
Grill master.
I've done this 10 times before. I have not. I've never done this before, but trust me, I barbecue a lot and I grill a lot, and even if it's raining, I just go with cast iron in the kitchen. So I'm gonna like really do this all the time. I'm gonna actually do what you just did. So while you're continuing that, I'm gonna go right under you, and I'm gonna cut some onion.
Yeah.
And then when you're ready to go, you could just plate it right there.
Where is this?
Because we have a hungry crew back here. Everyone wave. Phil, show us everybody. Phil's like, don't tell me to move the camera.
And as you see, it colors itself.
It's still really beautiful and colorful.
And you brought us some lettuce, so we could do lettuce wraps.
Yeah,
You also
lettuce
said-
wraps.
Yeah.
And then in the bowl is Cote's secret sauce. We call it samjang over here. And it's a mix of soybean paste with jalapeno, onion, garlic, sesame oil, and it's the sauce that everybody used to make little wraps. And you can find this store version at a very well-stocked Asian market. So,
Okay.
But
You guys make it.
we combine everything to make it ours.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's put some out and let's show people what we got going on here.
Let's cut this.
Oh.
You want to do the honor?
Yeah, can
Yes.
I? Okay, what do I do?
Just cut it into bite-sized pieces.
It doesn't matter where?
It doesn't matter where.
And do I
however you
put it
like
on top of the vegetables, or what do I do?
Yes.
Here, I'll cut, you serve. I'll turn. We use scissors for everything here in the Food and Wine Test Kitchen, so I love that you're, and is this something that you serve at the table, the scissors, or?
Yeah, this is actually scissors that we use in service.
Look how beautiful they are. They're so gorgeous. But you could use regular kitchen shears, right?
Of course.
Okay. I'm way slow at this.
Not at all. It's okay.
Should we try it?
We should.
Because I think we're almost out of time. So is this how, okay, so you show me what to do.
This will be like your home version so that you can share with all your friends, and it'll be a platter.
Yeah.
Just grab a piece of lettuce,
Okay.
a little bit of the sauce,
A little bit of sauce here.
and then dig in.
Just put a little meat, put a
Little
little
meat.
vegetable.
Little vegetable.
And you know everybody loves a lettuce wrap.
Yes, and it is a healthy way of eating, kind of.
Kind of. Cheers.
Cheers.
I got all the meat. The meat is so tender. The rumors are true. You actually can cook short rib in like 4 minutes.
4 minutes, yeah.
Which is what we did here today on Mad Genius Live. We're gonna keep eating. But David, I have to say, like, I've been cooking for like 9 years, and I've learned so much in the last like 20 minutes. Like, I'm gonna take all this, we're gonna write it up, we're gonna put it on foodandwine.com so everybody has the tricks that David showed us here today. And we are gonna share your recipe for your marinade. So everyone, thank you for watching. If you have any questions for David, drop them in the comments. We'll try to answer them after the show. If not, get to New York City, get to Cote, and you can have David's food. Thank you so much, David.
Thank you.
This is awesome. I'm gonna keep eating this.
Please.